Coming up Sunday, it's championship weekend in the NFL. 4 teams, 2 games, one ultimate goal and destination, one win away for making it to the Super Bowl and a chance to hoist the Vince Lombardi trophy. And we got 2, I think, really interesting and compelling matchups on Sunday for sure. I will talk in a separate video about the Bills and Chiefs, which will be the second game on Sunday. But the first game is the one that I'm going to talk about now, and that is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Green Bay Packers. After all these years, after all this time, Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady in the playoffs for the first time ever. Perhaps the only time ever. May not have come in the fashion or form that you would have expected all these years, but this is the one that you got. And both teams, I'm sure, feel confident about themselves going into Sunday with 2 of the icons, 2 of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history, with a shot at the Super Bowl at the line. And you've got the Buccaneers coming back last week, getting their revenge on the Saints, beating them 30-20, probably sending Drew Brees off into the ether of retirement. You got the Packers coming off their 32-18 victory over the Rams last Saturday. It was a pretty good performance by the Packers offense, balanced approach. So both teams have plenty of reason to feel confident about where they're at. You know, the Bucs, to their credit, they went all in this year. And they said, we're going to go get Tom Brady, bring in Gronk, bring in Antonio Brown. You know, if you're going to go all in, then you have to truly go all in. And they certainly have, and it's gotten them here to the cusp, the precipice of being in the Super Bowl. That has to be considered to at least some degree a success of when you do something like this and it works out, here's what you do it for. And meanwhile, for the Green Bay Packers, really interesting strategy. They didn't do a lot in the draft this year, frankly, to help Aaron Rodgers, but it seems to have not mattered. And if anything, the drafting of Jordan Love pissed off Aaron Rodgers, and he's played at an MVP level all season and most likely will end up the league's MVP. These teams did face off in the regular season. This is a long time ago, and both teams are entirely different than they were back then. Again, you're talking about week 6 of the season. That's back in October. I mean, that was a long, long time ago, and it certainly feels that way. Tampa, if you remember, won that game in a rout, 38-10, but Green Bay initially had the 10-0 lead at the end of the first quarter, and then once you had Aaron Rodgers in the pick 6, like everything went downhill for the Packers in that game, and sometimes that happens in the NFL. Like, you have one play, one moment that just really seems to change everything, and it did there, because once he had that pick 6, that was part of a run of 38 unanswered points by the Bucs. Ronald Jones had a big day. He had over 110 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers had a tough day, a rough day. 2 interceptions, 4 sacks. The Packers just never got out of their own way in that game. And that's a while ago, yes, but certainly is something that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers can point to and say, hey, we also believe that we are a better and improved team than we were in week 6. And I would say based off of the way they're playing, that's probably true. So they could come into this game, even though it's in Lambeau, in the cold and everything else, and they say, you know what? We think we have a chance to win. We feel confident in our chances here. We believe that we could beat this team because we've already beaten them once this year. And they certainly have a right to think that way. Whereas the Packers could think of it this way. You got a chance to get revenge. This is why you focus on doing so well in the regular season, because ultimately the road to the Super Bowl has to come through you, and in this case it has to come through Lambeau Field. That's what you do. That's why you put in that work over the season. That's why you want to be that top seed. You get that first round bye. So that way you can be in a position where winning you're in the Super Bowl, and it has to go through Lambeau Field. The frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. So this is a big matchup. Obviously, Super Bowl on the line. What are some of the keys for Tampa? They have to get and keep Tom Brady comfortable. Get him comfortable early. Keep him upright. Keep him protected. With Antonio Brown out, got to get Scotty Miller involved short. I know he's not a Darnell Mooney type, but look at the way that the Bears deployed and utilized Darnell Mooney in that Week 17 matchup. Because remember, before the injury, he was having a pretty good game against them. And look for some similar ways to utilize Scotty Miller in their 3 wide receiver sets, or figure out how to utilize Chris Godwin in that type of fashion. And they have to get some pressure on Rodgers early. Like, they were able to get some pressure on Rodgers way back in week 6. They got Rodgers uncomfortable, and you're talking about a Packers team that, yes, they still have a pretty good offensive line, but you don't have David Bakhtiari there. So you're missing your all-pro left tackle. You got to get after Aaron Rodgers. What you cannot do, what you absolutely cannot do, is you can't let Aaron Rodgers get comfortable early. Is if you let him get in the flow and you let him really start to feel himself and believe in what he's doing, you're fucked. There's no other kind way to put that. And then defensively for the Bucs, outside of just getting pressure on Rodgers, I'm assuming Carlton Davis would shadow Devontae Adams a good portion of the day, and he's going to have to, or maybe Sean Murphy-Bunting, I don't know. Like, they're going to have to lock down Devontae Adams and force the other Packers receivers, the other weapons in the passing game, to beat them. And the keys for Green Bay, you got to get after Tom Brady. Get him uncomfortable. His arm talent's not what it once was. He still has the great pocket presence to be able to move within the pocket, but still in general, not somebody that's going to beat you with his legs. So get that pressure on him, especially up the middle. Get Tom Brady off of his base. Get him to where the initial play breaks down and he has to create, and you're going to have some success. Protect the ball. The reason the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are in the NFC Championship game, not the New Orleans Saints, is New Orleans kept turning the damn ball over. It was the only reason Tampa won that game, frankly. And Green Bay, if they protect the ball and don't hand it over to this opportunistic Buccaneers defense, they're going to have a great chance. And then run the ball. Deploy Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams and even a little bit of a dose of A.J. Dillon. Like, don't be afraid to try and run this ball at times down the Buccaneers' throats. I'm not saying you're going to be incredibly successful doing that, but you at least got to give it a shot. And then ultimately, the key to victory is Aaron Rodgers. Like, if Aaron Rodgers goes out there and plays like A-Rod can, it's going to be really, really hard for the Buccaneers to beat him. And you talk about all this other crap and analyzing it and everything else, and people will do film studies on it and all that, and who really cares? Honestly, it's a legacy game for Tom Brady and Rodgers. That's what it is. With a win, Tom Brady goes to his 10th Super Bowl. 10th. It's crazy enough to think that a quarterback has been in 9 Super Bowls. But he wins this game on Sunday. He goes to his 10th. And even more importantly, and this is big and this is significant, he goes to the Super Bowl without Bill Belichick, at least perhaps shattering some of the narratives around, well, he was just a product of the Belichick system and it's more about Belichick than Brady, whereas Belichick didn't even make the playoffs this year. Tom Brady's 1 game away from the Super Bowl. So what happens now if he goes to the Super Bowl? So absolutely, I think an important critical legacy game. Because when you're the Buccaneers organization, you made the decision to go to Tom Brady. You didn't have a 5 or 10-year plan in place. It is 2 to 3 years, and you got to try and win a championship while you've got them. So this is an important critical game for the Tom Brady legacy. And as far as Aaron Rodgers, this is his best chance to make it back to the Super Bowl in the last decade. This realistically is his best chance. It absolutely is. It's been 10 years since he went to and won his only Super Bowl. And you only get so many chances at this. This is part of the reason you sent Mike McCarthy packing. That's why you brought in Matt LaFleur to kind of shake things up a little bit. And you're talking about a team now that under Aaron Rodgers, since that Super Bowl win all the way back in that 2010 season, this will be their 4th NFC Championship game appearance since that point. They've lost all 3 of those other ones. The Seahawks in that 2014 season, the Falcons in that 2016 season, and then last year, of course, against the 49ers. Like, this is the year. This is the moment. This is the time. They have to get it done. Because you can't sit there and say, well, what about next year? You never know what could happen next year. Tomorrow is not promised to anyone or any team or any player. The Packers have the opportunity now. This is their moment in time. If they're going to do it, it must be this year, because as far as you're concerned, they can't get back to the same spot again next year. If you're thinking about next year and you're a Packers fan, I think you're crazy. And you're not. You know this team can do it. You want this team to do it. You feel like this team needs to do it. And admittedly, I agree with you. The Packers absolutely need this game. They have to get back to the Super Bowl. Because otherwise they're going to be looked at as a team that wasted one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time and only got Aaron Rodgers to 1 Super Bowl. And you look at the spread for this game, the Packers are favored by 3.5. Actually, I understand it a little bit, but I actually feel this is a little generous. I look at this game and I say, Tom Brady is Tom Brady, and he's always scary in the clutch, and he's always scary in the playoffs. But Aaron Rodgers and this Packers team feels destined. They felt destined pretty much all year that they were going to get to this moment, get to this spot, and have a chance to get to the Super Bowl and take advantage of it and make sure it happens. So I'm not about to bail on that wagon now. I think the Packers win this game, something like 30-22. I'll be curious to see what the weather conditions will be like Sunday afternoon in Lambeau. But you guys tell me, who do you think's going to win? Does Tom Brady go to his 10th Super Bowl? Does Aaron Rodgers make it back for the first time in a decade? Whose legacy is helped here? Whose legacy is hurt here? What do you expect will be the big moments, the key points, the biggest factors in this game on Sunday? Let me know in the comment section. Make sure you smash that subscribe button and follow me on Twitter. I'll be back Sunday after the Packers-Buccaneers game to give you a recap of what happened.